Hi crafty friends, this is Luise Heinzel, and in today's video I would like to show you how to make some beautiful cards with some dried flowers. So the original idea came from Shana. She's called Shanuki on YouTube. Hi Shana. She made some really beautiful paper flowers on some ATC cards, and I loved this idea and wanted to try it out by myself. The end result turned out really different than Shana's result, but the original idea was by her. So for the one card that you can see here, I used a scrapbook paper. I cut it down to the size of, something like an index card. And for the other thing, I used a collaged background that I got in a Happy Mail, and I cut this little thing there out so that I have this prepared background. In the first step, as you could see a few seconds ago, I stenciled over the background with some dots stencil and with white gesso, but not such thick as you would do it normally, but only to get a little bit of this dot pattern to the background of the both cards. As you can see, the backgrounds are really different. So this scrapbooking paper, of course, looks totally different than the other piece. But I wanted to have this context with these dots on both cards. And I also tried to get some color onto both cards to get them into a context so that they fit together when you use them, for example, on two pages that are next to each other in a journal, for example. After I've added this, that was a brush color that I watered down, I dried it with my hairdryer. So in this step, these white dots came out really clear and really cool. So I liked this background really much. And I have a little tip, when your card gets wavy, dry it from the back side as well, and it will get a little bit more flat than when you dry it only from the front side. In the next step, I added some lettering stamp. So I have this really cool stamp with this handwriting, and I added this. That was also an idea by Shanna, and I tried it out on this already really loud background. So there's going on much in this background, but I wanted to add this stamps and try it out. In the next step, I tried to imitate these flowers that Shana made in her video, and that she showed us how to do that. If you would like to check out this video, I will link that down below in the description box so that you can see the original video, and perhaps you would like to make her version of these flowers. So I used some magazine papers for that, and I didn't think about that these papers are really glossy. So that was the main problem and the main reason why I changed my original plan later, as you will see in a few minutes. Then I had this really old sewing machine yarn from my grandmother. I got a really big box of this yarn. There is every color that you can imagine, and I can't use it for my sewing machine anymore because it's so old that it wouldn't stay alive in this machine. So it's not possible to sew with it anymore, but I want to use it for decoration like this. And I did it the same way like Shanna did it in her video. And I put some of this yarn behind of the flower. So then I thought, okay, this is really glossy. As you can see in the camera, this green middle part of the flower is really, really glossy, and I didn't like that because the background was such muted, and it was a matte background, and this middle point and also the leaves of the flower came out so glossy that I thought, okay, I have to do something. The first thing I tried was to stamp this thing to the middle, because I thought perhaps this glossiness is then not such visible, but I was not happy with that. I tried to make some doodling and some lines around the flower, but yeah, I thought, okay, that looks not really nice. So the better thing would be to do it like Shana in her video, to use a matte paper on this matte background. Otherwise, yeah, it looks like it looks here, and it's not very nice. So yeah, but I thought, okay, go on. And often in my process, I have the problem that I am not satisfied in some points, but then I think go on, and perhaps I will find a solution later. And yeah, I found a solution. You will see that later in this video. I tried to get some shading around this middle point of the flower and also around the petals of the flower. I used this Marabou art crayon for that. That's a water-soluble crayon, so it's really cool. You can smear it around with your fingers and get the kind of shading that you like. You can also use a baby wipe, as you can see me doing here, because yeah, it was a little bit too dark on the top, but you can easily smear it around until you have the kind of shading that you would like. Then I found this thing there. In German it says von Beach bis Cocktail, so that means from the beach until the, no, not until, from the beach to the cocktail, or from the beach, yeah, that means something like summer feeling, something like we are on the beach, we are having a party. And first I thought it would be a good idea to add this there. Later you can see I've changed it, but yeah, until that point I didn't know that it will not fit to the card later, because as you can see here, I've added some dried flowers. And that was the point where I thought, okay, what a happy accident that this dried flower that I had in my stash fits exactly to the size and the shape of the paper flower. That was really a happy accident, and I haven't planned it like that for the first card. So for the second card, I already had prepared this middle part, so this circle and the petals of the flower, and I decided to make it as glossy as on the first card, and then add another, as you can see here, dried flower. And this contrast turned out really, really cool. So here you can see me gluing this flower and going around with this fine liner. And yeah, then I thought, okay, you forget to add this little yarn there. So I put it there on the top of the flower. I was, yeah, nearly happy with that, because now it's a little bit of a highlight when it's there on the top. And I did also this shading with this art crayon. By the way, all these supplies that I use here, you can find listed down below in the description box. I have a little page where you can find these products on Amazon. And yeah, you can click that and you can find these things there if you would like to use the same supplies and materials, mediums that I use here. I applied this flower as well here to this paper flower, and I used normal bookbinders glue for that, because that dries really matte, and it's really good to stick, so to glue such things to paper. So also this dried flowers, so that of course are real flowers, they stick really well with this bookbinders glue to this card. And in the meantime, when I searched for another quote for this card, I found this German word, Ewigkeit. What does that mean in English? It means eternity in English, and I found it in a magazine. That was the same magazine where I've cut this petals and this circle for the flower, and I thought, okay, I think that fits really well to this, because this word eternity can say that this flower, this dried flower, will be there forever. And normally in the nature, of course, yeah, when sometime it will die. So this flower will die. Sorry, I don't have the right English words here at the moment, but you know what I mean. And on this card, it will stay forever. So I thought this word eternity will fit perfectly to this. I went around this with this marabou art crane as well, around this little label to give it a little bit of shading. And yeah, then I found the word silence in the same lettering as the word eternity. So Stille is the word in German. And I decided to go with this word for the card instead of this thing with the beach and the cocktail that I had before. To break this label a little bit down, because on the right side there was much of this purple, I decided to add this little gray flower. And then I thought, okay, it looks a little bit weird, and so I poked this hole with this punch, with this one-hole punch, and then I added this little clamp there to make it a little bit more dimensional. And I wanted to have this both cards fitting to each other, so I decided to add another flower in the same style to the other card, but not on the bottom there on this label, because I thought that would be too much, but I've put it there on the top, as you could see. And then I searched for the same kind of little thing there, and I can tell you this was really the last thing I had from this. So yeah, here you can see my finished cards. I hope you liked it. If yes, please give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, or ask your questions if you want, and hopefully we will see you the next time. I wish you a really happy crafty time, and hopefully we will see soon. Bye bye.